Hello and welcome to another episode of FreeCodeSession. My name is Jason Bach. I apologize in advance if the audio is a little weird. My mic got a little wonky right before I started doing recording with OBS, and now the sensitivity got really high, and I don't know why. So, who knows? Whatever. I'm going to do something kind of impromptu. There's a lot of work I still need to do with Auto Mini Profiler, though more design things are falling into place, so that's good. And then the C#8 non-nullable rock stuff, I really want to spend another episode or two, at least one episode, writing down some of the things I kind of just glossed over and did, and get them more concrete and steps that I'll need to do to make sure that I'm going to be covering that feature as best as I can, and I am recording okay, just making sure like I always do. But I want to take a sidetrack today, and there's an article that I read this morning, and it's this one. Okay, it's an interesting article because it talks about the checked keyword, which if you don't know what checked is, it's basically making sure that if you ever you could ever overflow and you put your code within a checked block, then it will actually throw an overflow exception. And you would imagine things like banking systems, financial systems as one area would be relevant. This one, I've always tried to keep this channel PG, but I got to show you this article. This was actually pretty hilarious. He uses the example, and I shouldn't assume, who are you? Are you a man? Are you not a man? John, okay, so probably a guy. I shouldn't make that assumption, though. In any event, he makes this example about Gandhi. Why is Gandhi a nuclear asshole in Civilization? It's a really good read, though, because apparently in Civilization, whether that be 6, that Gandhi, who is supposed to be this very peaceful person, was dropping nukes on people in the game. And apparently that you can read how it's described here that essentially the aggression value for Gandhi overflowed and became 255 and just started dropping nukes as soon as he could in the game, which I thought was just hilarious. So this article keeps going and talks about, why you should never use the check keyword unless absolutely necessary. You won't believe what happened next. It started feeling pretty clickbaity and like, is it one of these articles that just goes on and you really don't, well, of course you'd use it only when you need to because of performance. Well, that's what caught my attention, is the way the author did the performance, which was this stuff. And I just threw up in my mouth a little bit. I'm like, why? And for another thing, this isn't encoded. And I just saw this. This isn't encoded correctly at all in his blog. It's got oh, that's just sad. That's sad. Okay, so I sat there and looked at this and went, you should obviously use benchmark.net. Why? And this is what I rant on with people all the time. Not all the time, but when I see people who talk about performance and benchmarking in .net, benchmark.net is one of the top 10, if not top 5 tools, packages you should know as a .net developer without a doubt. There's no question about it. There's no reason to roll your own benchmarking. You should do it yourself. Or you shouldn't do it yourself, is what I'm getting at. I need some water. It's late on Friday night. So, thought, well, let's just have a little fun and make this a benchmark. Okay, so let's do File, New Project. Of course, we're going to do .NET Core because reasons. And, I'll put this in my projects. We'll say this is mesh benchmarking checked. Okay, whatever. Sounds good to me. All right. Set void main. We don't need the args. Okay. And as always, I have to personal code projects rocks. You can't? Really? There you go. Benchmarking checked. All right, so start yelling at me. Okay, so what we're going to want to do, I just like it. Just make them public. I don't know why. Add run overflowing code. Okay. So let's look at what this person did. So they basically have two methods here, one that does checked and one that doesn't. So we're going to grab these. Okay, so a lot's going off and finding there. Good, thank you. Stick these in here. Sorry. Pascal case and C#. Gotta do it, right? Gotta do it. Gotta do it. Okay, so it's essentially the two functions that this person had. Now the thing is, if I look at the code here, so what is it? It's multiplying. So yeah, calc 10,000 times 10,000. That won't overflow. Okay, so just checking my math here. The most you could ever get is 10,000. So it actually never throws an exception. Okay, even though he does have a try-catch block here in his code, it doesn't happen. So, and actually we could have just, you know, benchmark public int multiply with no checked int I int j. We'll just return that. And actually we can just say public and then do benchmark, say multiply with checked. Okay, that's pretty simple. But the thing is, I want to parameterize this. And I can't parameterize it such that I would generate all possible, was it 10,000, whatever, combination, you know, not 10,000 combinations, but how many combinations you can get out of that. That would make benchmark just go nuts. Okay, so what we really want to do is just do a couple of cases here. And as I see looking over here, I'm just following the simple way to do this is just to use params. So we're going to say params, and I'll say like 1, 10, 1,000, 10,000. Okay. And we'll call that public int I, because, you know, in math, I remember that in college. Whoops, I hit the insert. Engineers are not the best coders because they would not have the greatest names at all. So wait, those got to match. No, that's not what I want. Those are, hold on. Well, I guess I could use that. Arguments is really what I want. Oh, okay, that's, yeah. Okay, so you do that. Okay, that makes a little sense. So we're going to say arguments 1, 1, 10,000. Of course, there's like, you know, how many ways to do it different, you know. I mean, is this and this the same? Yeah. So is there a point of doing it that way? No, not really. And if we say 100 here. Am I repeating any? No, I don't do 100, I do 1,000. Yeah. Okay, just stop. Just stop, Jason. I know I'm trying to stop repeats, but I'm too tired to wrap that around in my head right now. There. Okay. That's a lot of arguments, and so that's going to make this benchmark take quite a long time to do. But that's okay. So what we're really trying to compare is, and we can get rid of these because we don't need these anymore. Back over here, say benchmark runner.run. Yeah, run overflowing code. So this should actually take some time. So I might let this video cut and then I'll come back. So, all right. Make sure we're in release mode, as we are. So you really need to check this. I times j, I times j. Okay. How many cases do you really need? How many cases do you really need? Let's do 1, 1. 10, 10. 1,000, 1,000. 10,000, 10,000. Because, you know, his test is trying to exercise it by making run over and over and over and over again. But that's what benchmark does with each one of these. It's going to run them over and over and over and over again. So I think this makes a lot more sense. Okay. Let's confirm. Bar code. So we should see 9 and 16. We do. Okay. Now I'm good enough just to say run it. Run it. And off it goes. All right, so I will cut the video now, and then when it's finished, we'll come back and talk about the results. Okay, we are back. Just take this, copy, and let's go into Notepad++. Make it a little bit easier. Okay, I did have memory. Yeah, I did have memory. Did I? Did I? I did. God, there should be no memory allocated, and it wasn't. Good. Okay, so what? Now, okay. Whoa, that's unexpected. That is really unexpected. Let me try to break these out a little bit so I can see these better. Now, in the article, without checked, I'm guessing it meant whatever this was in milliseconds, and this was width. So you can see that checked is actually 10 times slower than not using it at all. Oh, really? Because that ain't what I found. No checked. Checked. No check. Now this is a little slower. It didn't even register with that. This one, and then this one, yeah, that got a lot slower. Well, okay, order of magnitude slower. But we are talking nanoseconds here. I mean, we're talking like 100th, 200th of a nanosecond. That's insanely fast. I mean, how would you even notice that? I'm going to run this again. I'm going to change something because I forgot to do it. I'm going to say, because no, okay, and we're going to change some of these up. We're going to say like 3, 7, 12, 44, 243, and that. Well, we don't want to go because neither one of these overflow. He has exception handling in his code, but neither one of these overflow. And now that I think about it, hold on, let me get my thought in place here. And then we'll stick with the 10,000 here. Okay, then I'm going to copy these. Now, there was one no, that's not what I wanted. Where he's actually technically doing a try-catch. Now, a try-catch should not, which is technically wrong, but we know none of these are going to overflow. A try-catch really should not add significant overhead. Shouldn't. I'm actually just found out that I'm going to be doing my exceptional development talk in VS Live Redmond. And what is that? August, I think it's August, sometime this summer. I've done that a couple times, and it seems like it's not talk because I talk about exceptions, but I think that's one of the most misunderstood, misused things in .NET. And there was, when I put those slides together, I've done the talk, there is a part where I talk about try-catch, and just doing a try-catch, if you actually don't throw an exception, overhead is, you don't notice it. I mean, yeah, there's more to your method, but you don't notice it. It's only when you throw the exception that you notice it. So we're going to do this one more time with feeling, okay? And just to make sure, because math is hard. 2, 4, 3. Yeah, that's well within. I'm just pretty sure. Okay. We let this run, and when it's done, we'll come back and check the results again. All right, see you in a bit. Okay, so you can see this makes a little bit more sense now, because I think if it's the exception handler, which it does make sense, it's going to add some overhead, but we're talking again nanoseconds. We're not talking microseconds or milliseconds or anything like that. It's going to be very, very, very small. Yeah. Funny, you can't even do the ratios here. But we still see him kind of like jumping, this is better than this is worse than this, but this is so small. I mean, I really can't say anything about it. But with the exception handling, yes, there is a slight overhead with these values compared to the other ones. So from that perspective, yes, that does make sense based on what this person saw in the article. As soon as you had but it's wrong. It's not, shows that using checked adds a huge chunk of overhead to your code. No, that I don't agree with. It's this. That's what's adding the overhead. Okay. And what is he saying, 10 times slower? Well, if we look at the results that I have here, yeah, it's, between the worst of these two, the two that you get here, that's usually an order of magnitude slower. But again, we're talking like a tenth of a nanosecond. If that's in your hot path, then you might have to, make some optimization there. But if it's not, would you worry about it? I mean, putting the try-catch there when you're trying to make sure that you don't overflow is a good thing. Yeah. So I guess the point is, out of all this, is make sure you understand what you're benchmarking. Make sure you come to the right conclusions. And use a tool that's already there. Benchmark.net just makes all of this so much easier. So much cleaner. I don't have to do anything with stopwatches. I don't have to do any of that stuff. It's just all there. Put in. Okay, so hopefully this video is a reminder to people that if you're profiling code, if you're benchmarking code in .NET, use benchmark.net. I can't say, I mean, I know I show this in a lot of videos, but there's a reason why. It makes your life so much simpler. Okay, so I'm going to stop with the video right now. Thank you all for watching. Leave your comments and questions below. See you in the next episode.